Hey, how are you, Jason? How's it going, man? You doing all right? Yes. Oh, man, not quite dropped yet. No, it is. It's going. Like, we got a bunch of what we're talking about. We got plenty.
Work district.
I met him, a long time ago, yes, but it's been a while.
He was our assistant district engineer. Talking about March.
Okay.
Talked to him this morning and said he lives out of West Plains. They finished digging a pond beginning of May. He said it's full.
Oh, my goodness.
15 foot deep.
Really? It's already full.
Yeah, he said, he called me this morning to ask me some questions, and it was raining over there. He says, raining over your way. Sunshine right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, yeah, we just finished digging a pond in July, and it's already full.
Yeah. That is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. But I believe it. I must. I heard. Oh, Illinois. Oh, yeah. Sounds terrible.
Yeah, they had a dam break.
Somewhere around Nashville, but I don't think it was a levee or dam or something, but I don't know what it was to. I never did hear the rest of the story. But it was around Nashville, Illinois, is all I know. But it must have got rough. On the bridge project just started. People hill it. They had a project, which there's some, yes, things down there. But they had an excavator somewhere on that job that they were running cars. I don't know. It was for a while, whatever it was.
I look at those storms yesterday, we're just training on the same area over and over.
Saw St. Louis had much major interchanges. So it's water through it. Evening. Yeah, that was pretty good.
We escaped.
Me
all
too.
over.
Absolutely. Oh, this is. It is, how you doing, sir? All right, Bill.
I'm good. How are you?
It's fine.
Question for you.
Okay, what you got?
Let's see. Hey, Zoom. This is
Yes.
Highland Drive.
Yep.
There is this little Oakland Street here.
Yes.
Did I ask you about that before?
Sounds familiar, but I don't remember what you asked specifically, Joe. But
I think I was,
we did
I think I was asking if it was a city street or a county road. If it was a case of a road district, county
I
road.
don't know if the city maintains it or not. We do not.
Okay.
I do know that.
Nobody's maintaining it either. There is a
I
house right here that if you look, well, you can't even see it, but there's a little square house.
Yes.
Kind of tucked it underneath all those trees.
Yes.
And when you look at the plat, this shows it comes out and has like a circle,
Oh.
like a circle drive where you could basically have some houses or something back here.
Right.
Like it was platted out for that,
Like
but,
that was the thought process at the
Yeah.
time, right? Yeah.
but that Hopper Cemetery is back in there too, somewhere.
Yes.
One of my neighbors was telling me about that. back
Okay.
there. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, we stopped,
So I figure you guys come all the way down to the end of this
that's.
Ingram where it turns into private, probably
Yes,
right
I
about here,
think that is where we stopped.
before the Drury's property.
Yeah, and actually there was a time when that was gonna be tied in, years and years ago, and I think they stopped.
And this one is Julie.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so this Highland does not connect to that, but
That's what.
that would have been handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the idea. That was the plan years ago. Matter of fact, I think.
The who?
us.
Oh.
I think we were doing that. Long time, that was years and years and years ago, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think they squashed it, you know, they all, and I don't, maybe Miles and all that else. Anyway, it was, yes,
Okay.
that's what happened.
I just figured I'd ask, I figured you'd know.
Yeah, we know.
And I probably did ask you about that before. I
It
couldn't remember
sounds, it
that.
sounds like, I think we did talk about it, but it's been a while.
But nobody's maintaining it. Like I said, there's just kind of a gravel drive that goes into that house. That goes in there and it makes an immediate right into that house, but,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of a somewhat cleared off trail.
About it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's just one home down there too, right?
what's that?
There's only one home down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right off the road right there. It's kind of at the little S curve and it's right at the top of that hill.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever been in there.
Jeff, yesterday.
Tommy, you bring it on?
Some.
Just missed most of the time. Just
Oh,
a little bit.
Bloomfield.
Pretty good. How are you?
Say hi. I gotta run him up here. Not bad. All the combine coming off through the construction on there. St. Louis, he was taking up both lanes and it was going through a number of places with the, so it was a major, yeah, it was going slow there. People were backed up. They finally got past them.
Oh, it's gonna rain right there.
Are you gonna go through some of this today?
I hadn't planned on that one yet. I can though.
There are some designs.
Okay.
They don't have any concerts.
What's that?
They have any concerts in there?
Yes, it is.
Really?
Nothing really definitive.
Yeah.
Kind of like a high, mid, low.
It's getting gig lined up. See if that's good. Okay. Yeah.
It's gonna rub them all.
It really is. Oh, that's it.
It most certainly is, yeah. Wow, more and more all the time. Well, they'll do well there. I think they already got plenty of work for sure.
Yeah. No. It's helpful, like, consultant.
Oh, like that.
But it's not a one, like.
Right, right, absolutely. So. I would find that kind of experience. Yes. 28 years, 29 years. Well,
No, even though last year, last month, so last.
okay, see that?
Yeah. He's got a boy in college, it's just finished his freshman year now at ASU. He's got a daughter, senior this year. Yeah. So he's like, I need money.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, unfortunately, that is. The only thing are more things like the window.
Yeah. And if you kick them out the door anyway, sometimes it seems like kids these days, are even after college, living with their parents. So
That's very good. Good world.
Cleaning the floors right now.
got the public meeting.
Vacuum going.
Good timing.
Yeah. About, it's around BB and YY intersection.
We good?
Well, we don't have our note taker yet.
There you go.
Ah.
Trying to see if I missed an email from him.
No, but I've heard.
Michael got on it for the link.
It was the traffic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's normal interns.
Very, pretty big. Something else, something good, but I'll, it's kind of sporadic here west. But I'll take 6 months, I think we go good.
Well, it's been handy to have around.
Oh,
It's right in already forever.
yes.
So when we need construction inspection, they've been pretty helpful.
That's a good thing to have. At least. Yeah, I understand. There's really good friends, but I'm starting to
That right?
work on today.
Where does it work?
Hey, Brock.
Is it
I
one?
want to thank you. Yeah. Well, it's trying to think, it's sort of right there, down the wall, looking on the trails, the first meetings. Yeah, they were starting.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. It's steady trade.
Sandwich pan bread?
Yeah. There anyway.
What's the, always contemplating actually.
Part of the, part of this.
Utilizing that first.
That's the weird thing going on. Drastically, about, oh, no, what was that? There were fails.
Foundation numbers, they're always expensive.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I thought this snow field was historical that, put it on footing, be done.
I thought, I said that.
Right.
Down. Yeah, Singles had it as well.
I mean,
Almost solid. But it just was.
Yeah.
it all down.
Little
Actually, you know, it's got it.
That's another one. I mean,
And they're I don't think there's really all that.
The gentleman.
Yeah, we had a guy, well, from 77 that bruised.
Yes.
Joe's like.
That crop, north end.
Is it Flora?
The ability to,
Maybe Williams Creek.
depending on where the deal is.
Yeah, there is a lot.
One of them was one of them was
Eco.
I think it was a triple box. We went back with the bridge because of debris. I mean, we went out there and there were trees big around laying on the wing walls. But they looked around. Geotech data looked like it might be simple. The route was not where, of course, they can't punch holes in.
No, I.
It wasn't where they thought.
You have ours.
They were driving.
And you can go ahead.
That's right.
We're gonna go ahead and, call the meeting to order here.
Yeah.
We ended up having to order instead of drive 8. Oh, yeah.
Start with introductions. I'm Jeremy Tans, Southeast Missouri Regional Planning Commission.
Alex McRoy, SEMPO staff.
Rodney Bullinger, City of Jackson.
Eric Jackson. Very Homeless District 146.
Sorry, Drew Christian, SEMO RPC.
Joe Gillian, MoDOT.
Tom Caldwell, IDOT.
Mark Phillips, Cape Special.
Jason Williams, MoDOT.
And online, we have Chris Crocker with MoDOT, Michael Brandon with MoDOT, and Cecily Cochran with Federal Highway. I'll take,
Everybody,
hello. I would accept a motion for the adoption of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Approval of minutes. Minutes, you have a copy there. If you had a chance to review those. Motion from Mayor Haas.
Second.
Second from Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I don't have any communications to share, but I would yield my time to Representative Hovis if he would have anything he'd like to share at this time.
Thank you very much. Sorry I did the last couple of meetings. Obviously, every time I've had them scheduled, but have them scheduled for tomorrow. Thank you for allowing me to come today. Just here listening to the state side of it. Obviously, roads, infrastructure is an important thing. And maybe just hear from you guys on what the near and long-term future plans are. That's season of my we're going to work on some bridge projects over there that tie some things we can do in the future. So be happy to hear what those are. Other than that, hopefully the gas tax is still bringing enough money to fund what we want to do. And I'm sure you'll see flyers in the mail that I voted for the gas tax and online. So when you see those disregard, I thought it was a good vote to do. And hopefully we can do it for your person infrastructure projects.
We appreciate that because we do need that funding to keep going.
It
So
was very important. Something needed to be done.
we'll open the floor. Any other public comments regarding not any items on not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to new and unfinished business. Starting off with the election of officers for fiscal year 2025. Does anyone want to take over as chair?
Folks will remember we tabled this one that's Marla, at our May meeting, and then we didn't have a June meeting, so we're back established in them now.
Is it chair and vice chair, the two offices?
Yes, and it's a one-year term. Responsibilities of the chair are to do what Jeremy's doing today, move through the agenda, and typically speak on each item that they introduce.
Any voting board member could be chair, just so you know. Did Mayor Kinder express any interest? I know she was gonna.
She wasn't certain that she wanted the chair responsibility, and she had notified me that she was not going to be able to attend today because she's leaving town this afternoon. But I didn't pick up a dire desire to serve as the chair for this first year.
Chair, if you would be willing to do it again, I would nominate you and then nominate Mayor Kinder as vice chair. So we can get a little more involved in the organization and hopefully move into chair.
We have a nomination on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
So that,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We've got officers.
all right, thank you.
So we'll move on to next item, SEMPO Region Trail Connection Study.
We had our kickoff meeting in April with our planning committee, and since that time, we have gone live with our public survey. We've purchased yard signs to be placed around trails in both Cape and Jackson. We had 10 given to Jackson for placement. We have 10 in Cape Girardeau, 8 being along our trails in the city of Cape, and then 2 in the county parks. And we're gearing up for an open house we'd like to host in August. Right now, we're looking at dates of August 7th and August 8th. We'll hold one in Cape and one in Jackson. I've reached out to the Osage Center and this Jackson Civic Center to see if they would be willing host for our open house. As soon as we get those dates established, we'll be working on press releases for the open house, social media announcements, and of course, presentation materials for the open house. And that'll take us through July, August timeframe. What our consultants will be working on in the interim is the routing analysis. That'll be also in the months of July and August. They'll be developing an evaluation metrics to evaluate each alignment. They'll be working with the steering committees, and we'll be looking to host yet another public open house in the September, November timeframe. Implementation recommendations will be developed between September and November, where they'll develop planning level costs for the proposed alignments, draft recommendations, and a final public meeting. And then in December through February, they'll be working on composing the final draft report and the final report for the board consideration. We're moving right along with it. I'd encourage everyone to share our social media pamphlet that we have out there with the QR code will take you to our public survey. Those are also plastered on our yard signs we have along the trails as well.
They, you look at the study, they're gonna have recommendations for where to connect, how to connect, and cost of those connections.
Yes, planning level costs. We're warned quite often not to do any engineering with planning funds, so we have to be a little bit careful of how detailed we get with those planning costs. But yes, they'll be developing recommendations. If folks will remember our 2018 Regional Bike and Pedestrian Plan, they had identified kind of a conceptual northern connection of a trail between Cape and Jackson and a southern one. So our consultants are taking a deeper look into those connections, evaluating the feasibility of them. And if they remain viable, they'll continue them as options with further detail behind them, and then provide yet another proposed conceptual connection between the cities.
And after all that, there's a consideration how we fund it if we want to do.
Yes, yes, and they'll make some recommendations of funding programs that are out there.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Some that may fall into the next category, safe streets for all.
Safe streets and roads for all. So we had been hosting monthly oversight committee meetings dating back to November, December of last year. Those have continued on. We had our last one just last week with the oversight committee. Right now, our consultants are working on the draft report, which will then be issued to us. And we're still targeting October for our open house to reveal the draft with the public. Any questions on our Safe Streets and Roads for All project?
Will that draft be available before that open house review, or will it be made available then?
We're hoping it'll be available before. That was the original intent. And right now we're on track to be able to do that.
And once that's complete, we can start looking at implementation funding.
Yes, so once we receive the draft report, we issue our comments. I'll share the draft report with Federal Highway, and they won't review it as like a grade score or anything, but they'll just make sure it meets the merits. To then we can then self-certify and say we have a safety action plan which meets Federal Highway merits, so that would then qualify us for implementation grants. Yep.
Well, we'll move on to the intersection studies then.
Okay, well, our final report for 621 Imperialville Road was accepted by our steering committee. At our planning committee earlier this month, offered one more opportunity for folks to issue any comments. None were provided at that time, so the comments we'd received previously have been incorporated, and it has now been accepted. I have printed versions of the draft, which I shared with the planning committee at our meeting earlier this month. And they had expressed an interest in doing somewhat more of a formal presentation as opposed to just providing a copy of the report. I had provided a kind of quick executive summary of some of the findings in the report. And the planning committee had expressed perhaps we should provide a presentation to the board similar to the executive summary that I provided, briefly going over the conceptual designs and then the evaluation of those designs. So if the board would be interested, I'd be willing to provide more of a formal presentation on the report that was accepted by the committee in August or September.
I think that'd be good and make sure we invite everybody, like, Charlie Brooks was involved in this at the beginning, so they're.
Yes.
We'll make sure they know, commissioners know. So they will.
Yeah, and that was echoed by Jay Knutson at our meeting, our planning meeting as well. He thought some additional actors might benefit from hearing the presentation as well.
Any other questions on the intersection study? We will move on to the tip selection tool discussion.
All right, well, I believe we've received the go live link, but both Drew and I have. I haven't had an opportunity yet to learn the administrative facing side of the portal. I think Drew might be a little bit more competent at that than I am right now. But as soon as we go live and we're more comfortable with it, we'll certainly be sharing a presentation of its functionality with the planning committee and the board as well. One thing that we still need to be able to incorporate are the shape files, which then populate the interactive map where folks can visually go and see where the projects are that we're describing. That was a main driver behind switching vendors at the time.
I had an update on that.
Yeah,
When I asked for that, they got back with me the next day and said that they basically wanted to wait on that until we have one dot approval
mhm.
of the STIP. So we received word last night, late yesterday afternoon, that we have received one dot approval. So I'm basically giving them a day to stew about it, and I'll probably contact them tomorrow and ask for those files again. So hopefully this week, next week, hopefully we'll be able to get those to you
Perfect.
so that the vendor can go and get those completed.
Any questions on the tip tool?
All right, we'll look forward to that presentation when it's available. And then next, we're going to go to item F, origin and destination analytical tool discussion.
I believe we're still on track for an August presentation from either a Placer AI rep or,
I think so.
okay,
We have not had this month's Placer call
your,
yet.
our rep has been on vacation, isn't that right?
Maternity leave.
Attorney,
So.
there is a difference.
Yeah.
So if we could be open to August or September, that might help. I'll talk to her though and see if we can get August set, but I don't know what her schedule looks like. There's not a ton of lead time, 2 weeks or whatever until, or 3 maybe until the TBC. So, I've got to get with her and see what her schedule is, but
That works.
August is pretty good.
Okay. August or September.
And I don't know if you're open to, I don't know if it would be easier if it was an option to do like August board and September TBC, or if you'd rather just keep it in the same calendar month. I didn't know if that really mattered to you or not.
It wouldn't me. I wouldn't see an issue with staggering them if it worked out better that way.
I'll see what her schedule is.
Sounds good.
Any other questions regarding the analytical tool? We'll move on to member reports, and Cecily, usually you have to drop off before we get to you, so I'm gonna start with you. Federal Highway.
I have no updates. However, there probably there's gonna be some releases for new grant information and NOFO coming down soon. I will be sure to pass it along. And also the highway information seminar, one that we have annually, it's a virtual option. I should be getting registration information on that, and it's open to like states and planning partners to attend just to get information on how we did with our highways program and statistics just nationwide, and kind of give some best practices on, you know, anything coming down the pipeline. That should be opening soon, and I will send out that link for people to get registered for that. It's free, it's virtual, it's pure information for all the sessions to get everybody up to date on what's going on nationally. So I will send that down as soon as I get it. And then for the NOFO information, like I said, you should be expecting that in a couple of weeks or so, and I'll pass that over to Alex as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll just kind of work backwards to the list. We'll go to IDOT next.
No report.
Jeremy said if he's gonna.
We got
do this for a
agreements all
third
signed. They
year.
were, SEMPO was the second agreement that we got fully executed. So you were head of the line.
All right, like to hear it.
Good. Okay, we'll go on to MoDOT. Joe, you want to start?
Sure. I always think we always start with, the highest ranking person. We start with Jason and then Chris.
We can go that route.
But, and that way, they hit the high level stuff. And if there's anything left, I'll bring it up. That's all here.
I guess the main thing that I have is, for us is August 7th is our commission meeting. We'll be in Poplar Bluff. So Southeast District gets to host one of those meetings once a year. And last year we had it in Perryville. This year it'll be in Poplar Bluff. The location is to be determined at this point. I think they're still trying to work out those details, but it will be in Poplar Bluff. And of course, the big thing probably on the agenda there will be to talk about 67, because we got Poplar Bluff got $60 million in general revenue. Put toward basically converting that corridor between Arkansas and Poplar Bluff to a 4-lane interstate standard highway. And then we're still trying to, there were funding agreements in place prior to that, obviously, for that corridor. The corridor improvements are split up into several phases. There's a 1A, 1B, 2, phase 3, and phase 4. 1A, B, and 2 already had funding agreements in place with the city of Poplar Bluff and MoDOT. So we're trying to work through how the 60 million in general revenue can be spent and on what it can be spent. So that's kind of the main thing that I have. And then one other thing I have, just because I had some direct involvement with it, is our hot mix asphalt repair project that I think we had back in March that was rejected. We're going to run that back through our August letting, and that addresses the condition on Kings Highway and Route K through Cape. I know if you've driven that, we've got some potholes forming in places. And so hopefully that contract comes in with good bids and we can award that.
Now it's your turn.
All right. So July 25th is the high priority unfunded needs meeting. That'll be held at SEMO RPC from 4 to 6 p.m. We would like to encourage the local groups, especially this group, to go and participate. For some of our western counties, obviously that's a little bit more of a haul, but we move that around every year, so we can kind of split it between them. And we alluded to earlier, the Highway Commission approved the STIP on July the 10th, and we got $1 approval yesterday.
Joe, do you know the hours for the unfunded needs meeting?
4 to 6. I'm sorry, I thought I said that. No, yeah, 4 to 6 p.m.
Thank
And
you.
it'll be in their, guessing the meeting room.
I missed the day when you said it.
July 25th. I think a week from tomorrow.
What's the agenda, or how does that meeting work? Talk about them, or presentations on them, or?
So what we'll do, what we did last year, and, Mark Corkin, our district engineer, has already said he'd kind of like to do it again, was we'll have, some foam board mounted maps and some lists of the projects, and we'll have those in 3 or 4 different corners of the room, so everybody's not gaggling in one spot. And we'll have a chance to kind of discuss and talk about, and then probably about 15-20 minutes in, then he'll get up and he'll make a presentation. Unless he delegates that to Jason. So there'll be opportunity for discussion, multiple MoDOT personnel there. And opportunities to go over the needs and see what all is on the list. And ask you questions if you have any, but these are lists that have been compiled by this group as well as their regional planning commissions. So hopefully not a lot of surprises outside of some potential issues where we had to make some adjustments because we just had costs were a little bit higher than what we had anticipated. So I think there were some adjustments there, and Mike can probably speak a little bit more to that. If you have further questions on that, but it'll be an open discussion. It'll certainly be time to have it.
Other questions for Joe or Jason?
See if Chris has. some.
Yep. All right, we'll move on to online partners there. Chris, since you got your camera on.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of go through some of the projects that we have going on actively. If I repeat any of this that we talked about at the last SEMPO TAC meeting, I apologize if you've already heard it, but the Route 61 project in Jackson seems to be going pretty well now. The contractors finished up paving basically from Mary Street back to the roundabout. Then they're gonna start working on the northern part of the Mary Street. And then the bridge itself is well underway. The south end bit is completed and the north end bit should be completed fairly soon. And then they'll start setting beams in early August on that project. On Route K and 25, we're working on paved entrances and preparing for asphalt widening on Route K. And then should be placing asphalt right now or in the next week or so, depending on all the rain that we've been getting here recently. Then the Route D bridge over Bird Creek, that bridge is about 80% removed, and they are working on the substructure currently. They're anticipating an opening in November 1st of 2024. And then just today, we held a pre-construction conference on Route 72, the Millfield project that's going through town. The contractor had anticipated starting the concrete work early or sometime this fall, but they're actually going to be pushing that work back to sometime in next March of 2025. Going to start the concrete work, and then once they're completed with that, they're actually going to start paving sometime middle to late April, and they hope to be finished by the end of May, but maybe into June a little bit. And the majority of that work was required to be completed at night. As of right now, the contractor anticipates they'll do almost everything at night, except for some of the widening on the west side of Route 72 near the Dollar General. Route W, that paving project is anticipated to be started sometime in August. That'll be from 177 to Lexington Roundabout. The work at the roundabout itself will be completed at nighttime. They anticipate about 4 nights to be able to go through and millfill that roundabout itself. And beyond that, I did want to touch base with something we've been working on with our design staff. I'm going to share my screen real quickly. If you give me 1 second.
Uh,
I don't know if I have it set.
Oh,
yet, but I'm
if you
walking.
can't, if you can't, that's fine. I'll just talk about it. But basically, throughout the state, we have been, we understand that there's an increased demand for our truck traffic that we have on our roadways to be able to get off the road and, and be able to, park safely. So one of the things that we have done in other parts of the state, and we're planning on doing at the Fruitland exit. If you can see this, we are planning on converting the southbound rest area to all truck parking. We would remove the existing bathroom facilities and install two toilet vaults, and then add an additional 15 or parking spaces. So we basically double the amount of parking. And again, the reason for that is we're statewide, we have a more of a demand for trucks than we ever have on our highways and places for them to get off the road and park. And we're seeing less of a demand for our, normal everyday traffic to be able to use rest areas, because the amount of gas stations and things like that that they can use, they're almost at every exit nowadays, and we're kind of seeing a different trend in what our rest areas should be used for. So we do plan on using some. I got the email here. I'm gonna stop sharing real quick.
Well, it never actually came through, so you're okay.
Oh, it never came through?
You should be able to now. I did set it to where you should be able, there it goes.
Okay,
Yeah, we can see
I'm
it now.
sorry about that. So that's what it'll look like once it's converted. And
It's a little hard to see, but I think we're doubling the truck parking at that location from what it is now.
Yeah.
So it's going from like 15 stalls to 30.
yeah, we're gonna be doubling the parking there. We do plan on letting this project in October of this year and awarding it in November. And the rest areas being closed in December or January. But the project, it looks like it could be a 2-year project, so they may fall into 2 different years to be able to complete it. But once it's closed, it'll be reopened the summer of 2025 tentatively. So that's pretty much the reasoning of why we're doing it, and what our plan is. And we wanted to get that information to you all, in case you were asked any questions from any of your constituents or folks of why we're going about doing that. I'm gonna try and quit sharing. All right, and that's all the update I had.
All right. Michael, you got anything to add?
I think everything was pretty much covered. The one dot approval of the STIP, the unfunded needs meeting, coming up next week. I hope folks can attend and some talk about 67. We're starting our asset management plan and STIP update for the next year. So no sooner than getting one done, you kind of start the next one. But we expect it to be heavily asset management related to primarily a lot of resurfacings and overlays. So we'll see how costs go. If we're able to fit in anything from the unfunded needs packet that we just put together. So, and the other thing I'll add is we are having our annual Stand Up for Safety Day tomorrow. I think we talk about that every now and then. We have obviously annual once a year, but it's just a day we set aside to kind of all departments, maintenance, they get together and take some time and meet and discuss things, discuss close calls and incidents and they go over all their equipment and maybe over a particular item. You know, sometimes they may have somebody come in from a co-op, electrical co-op, and do a presentation on being safe around electricity. Here at the district office, you know, we're going to have a general open discussion, but then we're going to talk about things like earthquakes and being prepared and distracted driving and reviewing our PPE, slips, trips, and falls, and even things such as cybersecurity and stuff like that. So it's a pretty neat day, but it's just something we do just to kind of reset ourselves and make sure that everything we have around us is safe and we can continue being safe going forward. So we'll be doing that tomorrow, and then of course Boot Hill has their TAC meeting tomorrow also, and then I think SEMO the next week. And that'll be it.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions for MoDOT?
I got a question in front of my review, on the, if we've got any update on the streetlight project for East Jacksonville, or the reason we're kind of pushing on this is, you know, our part of the reply to the grant, certainly our part of the money is ARPA money. So we're not gonna get something from a MoDOT perspective, then we've got to figure out how we take our money and do something with it, you know, towards that project or something else, so. I think we have-
Yeah, I keep kind of trying to prod that cost share committee for a response, and they're still evaluating it. I don't know that there's anything else we can do to hurry it along other than it's just a kind of a waiting game right now.
I've asked our representative to follow up, since some of the things that he does, so Barry's gonna follow up a little bit here too.
Chris, what's your expectation that they'll have to keep going? They did ask me Jackson to follow up, and I was gonna inquire with their liaison at the state level, but I just like to cover a little bit. You know when they might have that decision made, or a timetable, cut off time or something?
No, so to kind of summarize what where we were at right now with it is basically it was sort of an unprecedented request for cost share that we wouldn't normally participate in for continuous lighting for any given entity unless the amount of crashes at night exceeded a certain level. We weren't anywhere near that level. So we were able to talk with the city, Jim and Rodney, and come up with a way to maybe help the application and its more likelihood to be approved by transferring some of the existing continuous lighting back to the city, about I think it was 30 to 40 lights. So what we're doing right now is looking at a kind of the life cycle costs of those existing lights compared to the cost share costs of the proposed lights that the city wants to do, and whether that kind of pans out as far as, you know, those two costs are associated. I had seen some initial numbers on that, but I haven't seen any sort of yay or nay beyond that. So I'll check in today. I'd actually called yesterday to my contact with financial services to see if they had an update, and they were still waiting for our chief engineer's kind of blessing on it. So.
No, I appreciate that, because I know sometimes there's things you gotta be asked to do, you don't do, but if it's something that's kind of up in the air, I'd like to know when that decision can be made. It
Yeah,
helps.
we don't have a definitive date to say when we would know anything. Just because of the uniqueness of this particular one.
Thank you.
Any other questions for MoDOT?
Are we getting our fair share of money down here in the southeastern district, or do I need to go to Jeff City and tell them to divert some of that I-70 and I-24? You guys got any tools I can help them with that? I would appreciate it.
We'll move on to Sumo RPC. I will say that all the transportation advisory committees in the state have been kind of approached by multimodal at central office about increasing their multimodal engagement in the tax, the local level. That's something that's kind of been worked into the work programs for this year. So we're just starting to figure out how that's going to work and what that's going to look like. I think for our TAC, we're going to probably have a multimodal subcommittee to our TAC. So we're going to be in contact with all the multimodal providers in our 7-county region and try to get them around the table by 2 meetings a year and try to get a centralized priority list from them for each of their modes and put those together and get those into the district office with our regular prioritization list. So I think it's a way for central office to kind of get a better handle on those multimodal needs that are out there, because a lot of those don't come through the tax. A lot of tax don't have a lot of engagement with the multimodal partners. So there's like almost a different flow for those. And sometimes those lists aren't matching up with what multimodal's collecting and then what hits the unfunded needs list at the district level. If I'm misspoken, please, you feel free to jump in, but that's.
Oh,
But so that is something that's happening. Like I said, it's just the beginning stages. We're just starting this thing out, so it could evolve over time. But just let you guys be aware that this is something that's being discussed and worked out. So, Drew, do you have anything?
Gonna be getting into the new tip software and running some of the updates. I was able, well, I got my login this morning. But when I went to log in, Alex, I don't know if you tried yet. When I went to log in, it was just looping me back to the login. I never got in. So I'll have to try that again. I thought, well, maybe it's just because it's a couple hours brand new. But I can't get here. But
I think I did get in through the administrative portal.
you were able to.
I think so, yeah. They had a very strange password for me, but
And I was trying to get in, but I mean, I created the account, refreshed the page and tried to log in. So I assumed that it was just probably had populated and back in yet.
Yeah.
That, working on that. Mike, I think you sent me an email earlier today asking if the TAC meeting was next week. It is, our TAC meeting is Tuesday. We'll be finalizing our prioritized list, which will, I guess, be for the 26th still. So,
Yeah, I got the email, Drew, right after I had emailed you. It came through.
yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions for us? Cape Transit. None. Special Road District.
The main thing we have right now, we're getting ready to start, actually started setting signs today for a bridge replacement project, and that's on Cape Rock Drive. If you're familiar with where Snake Hill is, it's at the intersection with North Sprigg or County Road 645. There's a little single span bridge there, and we'll probably start tearing it out tomorrow. We're planning on having it done, if everything goes well, hopefully by the end of August. So it's going to be about a 6-week project if all goes well. Hopefully we'll have a nice wide, no load posted bridge there. So that's our big project right now. We got asphalt overlay going as well, but the bridge project probably will affect more. It's going to be, of course, a road closure. So It has impacts on local traffic. That's all I have.
All right. Any other questions for Special Road District? City Jackson.
Well, our concrete maintenance program continues on, that is moving on, replacing panels and so forth, and what we need to in the city. The asphalt program hasn't been bid out yet. I don't think so. I haven't seen it yet. We're waiting on an engineering study, or I guess engineering work, as part of that program is to pave the gravel road down to the soccer park. But we need some engineering, so we can go get that, then go out to bid, because that'll be part of our asphalt program this year. It's ongoing. Deerwood intersection out here, I guess I signed some letters for, the ODOT's been working on acquisitions of the land we need to put in the roundabout. Okay, so, that was, I assume, our out discussions going on there. Not near as much, should be near as much cost as what we had planned, so we good finance, assuming everything, with our, what they have in the budget is okay. One project that we started in Jackson Public Works is, I guess Springfield has a program making their crosswalks safer. We're gonna look at the same type of program from uptown Jackson, because we're running into the issues of, and happens everywhere, people do not stop for people in crosswalks. And it means your uptown area or your downtown area isn't as walkable, and it's certainly more dangerous when people are just continue to drive through, people are trying to walk across the street. So we're looking at signage, we're looking at some different programs that do that, painting and enforcement, and I'll finally come down to it. We've seen it get a lot worse since the roundabout, because usually at the roundabout, everybody stopped, and then they still put around the roundabout, shoot their way uptown, and speeds have got a little land, and those crosswalks are they're diagonal, which isn't so good. We're looking at making those parallel. So the program we'll put together, we're going to be working on. Thank you.
Interesting.
I think that's it.
Ron, do you have anything additional?
No, thanks.
Any other questions for Jackson? Do you have anything for City Kate?
No.
All right, we'll just move on to the staff report then.
Our Unified Planning Work Program, or UPWP, which is our budget and work plan for the fiscal year, was approved by all agencies prior to the July 1 deadline. So that's always good. Just as a heads up, one of the major projects for the year we'll be kicking off soon is our Metropolitan Transportation Plan update. That's our long-range transportation plan for all modes of transportation in our planning area. It's the largest plan that we are responsible for creating. Just for some housekeeping, so folks are aware, the Cape Girardeau Cape Special Road District voting tenure on the board started July 1. Their tenure will be from July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2026. They flip every 2 years. And then SEMO University's tenure effectively took place July 1 and has the same tenure of July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2026. However, SEMO is going through some turnover right now in some of those key positions that have served historically as representatives to this group. So they had asked if the CTA wanted to continue on with their voting tenure, and the CTA had agreed. So the CTA will continue on as a voting member until SEMO feels as if they're ready to take back their voting membership. So that the schedule for changing will remain the same. CTA was just gracious to continue on as voting member as the SEMO University gets staffed up. And that's all I have.
So anyone have any other business or communications for the group? Hearing none, take a motion to adjourn. Second. Motion and second, all in favor? Thank you for attending.
For some reason, I don't know.
It's the,
Is he agreeing for the horizontal baler? On the graph they got? Always.
Those are all. In some of these different avenues. I think we.
Wanted to give you a special invitation to the fall planning conference. It's gonna be just up.
I saw that, yeah.
So, I think, Gateway is possibly gonna do a presentation. They had completed their SS4, just last month. So I thought that might be something.
Yeah, with it being, that's where, right around where my wife used to live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Fallon, they're on the east side. Yeah, so, anyway, like to see.
Yeah, I had planned on it. Trying to attend. Thank you.
Frustrating, I know, but you didn't waste 32
Maybe.
Yeah, right. We've got.